Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Probably Private. I'm Catherine Jarmal, and I'm gonna walk you through today just one example of how to start evaluating your data and doing so on your local setup so that you can both improve privacy of your own data, security paradigm that you use with how you'd like to set up your own security measures, and also, yeah, get a feel for what works for you personally. And usually this can then help improve whatever work setup you also have. Okay, so we're getting started. We're in Jupyter Notebook. We're in the repo that is for my masterclass. So again, stay tuned. There's going to be more content from this. And we're actually diving right into notebook number 3. So if you want, you can kind of go through yourself notebook number 2, because we're using some outputs from notebook number 2. But the main thing is less instructive in terms of exactly what types of data you produce, and more me trying to show you some basic evaluations that you can run and some ways to get started. So here's a few things that we already built that you might already have for your use case. And that's a meta prompt or a system prompt that we kind of vibe tested and made sure, okay, this is what we like. This is what we think we're going to use for our prompt, our initial starting prompt. And we've also generated some synthetic data. Now, why synthetic data? That's because for my problem, for what I'm building here, I didn't have good starting data. If you actually have good starting data, like data that you're using to build something locally or data that you're using at work or something like this, I recommend skip synthetic data, use the real data. And you might need to manipulate the data to get it in a format that you like, but always start with realistic data if you can, and then use synthetic data either to augment realistic data. So let's say you only have 10 pieces of realistic data. You can use those to generate more synthetic data. Or if you, like me, for this exact type of LLM system I'm building for myself, I don't actually have real data yet, or I don't have digitized real data yet, I guess. Okay, so I'm importing a llama. I got pandas going. I'm going to be using some IPython widgets to just give me an idea of how to evaluate, and some plotting, right? So that's what I have imported. I have a few helper functions, just very small functions here. Eventually, of course, we want to move these outside of Jupyter Notebook into several Python files, maybe even start to build out a library. But for right now, we're just going to get it working here for the purpose of this video, for the purpose of my masterclass. But always follow good software engineering design principles, and that means not running this in Jupyter once you get it really working. Okay, so we're going to build a conversation. We're going to get a response based on that conversation. And here we have prep and generate, which basically means I'm putting together the meta prompt, the synthetic prompt, and sending it over to Ollama and getting it back. This is just like a little helper function just for the purpose of this notebook. Again, if I was putting this in a production system, or even if I'm going to run this locally, I'm going to start to introduce this as kind of its own Python package that I can install and run at any time. Okay, so I have my prompts. These are the synthetic data that I generated, and we can look through them. Basically, the project that I was working on is, can I have an LLM with just, I give it a few ingredients, and can it start to learn what types of recipes I like and suggest me recipes? And can I run that all locally so that over time I can improve the recipe suggestions? And I may or may not have started also collecting some data so that eventually I can replace these synthetic prompts with something real. So stay tuned if you also are a at-home chef and you want to use one of your local models to help you with new ideas. So here I have the model name is Gemma31B. Here is my meta prompt. You are a helpful assistant who makes tasty recipes, yada, yada, yada. I give an example, so a very small example recipe. And I name Nigella Lawson because I really like her cookbooks and things, but you can, of course, modify your prompt for whatever you're trying to do. And so I'm adding this data to my prompt data frame, and then I'm going and getting a response. So this essentially is going to take that prep and generate from above. It's going to generate synthetic responses. I'm going to save those and I'm going to load them again. And this is basically to, pre-set up everything for my evaluation. If you're running this on your computer for the first time, you probably now might want to pause. You might want to go to notebook number 2 and decide for yourself what type of prompt do you want to use for this and what type of data do you want to generate for it. So I recommend you actually make this video useful and pause and go do that now. But if you just want to follow along and you're getting an idea, that's fine too. We can move along. And so now I can take a look and, sorry, one other quick note. When you eventually first run this prep and generate, it's going to take a while because, again, it's going to go through your entire data frame and generate responses. And so depending on how much synthetic data you generated, this could take 10, 20 minutes, or it could take, I think mine takes about 3 or 4 minutes because I don't have that many synthetic data prompts. Okay, so here I have all my responses, see? And I can see that it's stayed in my language. So I said, I want you to support Spanish. And this is because sometimes I also try to practice my Spanish, but also because I like Spanish inspired or Mexican inspired dishes. I come from California. So what I thought is perhaps if I also sometimes use Espanol, then I can also get better recipes for what I'm trying to do. Now I'm going to add just 2 extra things for my data frame, and that's going to be 2 simple states, pass versus fail, and why did it fail? Why am I starting just with 2 states? Well, because I'm building this from scratch, which means I don't even really know what I'm going to like or not like at this point in time. I'm not sure what the responses look like. I haven't looked through them yet. And it's much, much easier to decide, okay, hard pass, hard fail, both in my human brain, but also then to start to train or develop better prompts for my model to figure out, can we get more of what I like? And eventually maybe build a discriminator similar to what we've been talking about, discriminator, that can already judge for me, should this pass or fail, and can even maybe start to improve the system on its own with my oversight at first, and then eventually maybe without my oversight needed, okay? And I have some links at the bottom of this notebook to other ways where you can get started learning evaluations. Hamel Hussein's YouTube, Hugo von Anderson's YouTube are great other places to start as well. I will link them. And this is just me showing you a little bit of my process so that you have a notebook that you can use or you can start with, or that you can take inspiration from. Okay. So we'll see whether it has a response. And this is because depending on how many prompts you go through, I wrote this so that you can stop mid-process if you need to take a break and then come back to it. Okay. And here is basically just a little bit of a long iterative prompt. Again, this is just because for me, it's easy to show you this in Jupyter Notebook. But if you were doing this in reality, A, there's a bunch of evaluation tools you can use, or B, you can write your own in whatever tool you use. I know a lot of people use Streamlit, but here it's going to say pass or fail. So I'm going to read through it. Garlic Parmesan spaghetti with a kick. And here we got garlic, Parmesan, salt, pepper, red pepper. Okay. This is actually looking okay. This is really quick and tasty. That's what I asked for. Okay, I'm going to submit that one. Here's tortilla de cebolla y cilantro. And what did I say I originally had? Yeah, okay. I'm going to say this one passed too. Okay. I'm going to keep going till I find a fail. Okay, so I found one that failed. And this says cook time is 30 minutes, but it says dried beans, which is not correct. So I'm going to say it failed, and it's going to say cook time is incorrect. Okay. Oh, here's also a gross one, in my opinion. But, if you like grapes and crackers for some reason, then do so. And I'm going to keep going through. So you'll watch this hopefully in high speed for the next few minutes. Okay, so now I've reached completed. I can take a look and I can see I have a bunch of passes. I have some fails, right? And I'm going to use this to see overall what's going on. I mean, pretty good. I mean, just visually, so my prompt isn't doing awful. And we can take a look. It's 68% accuracy, right? If we just go on the pass and fail. And if we go through and we just see the fail response, I literally just typed what I was thinking. So cook time incorrect, gross, boring. So boring, we see is showing up twice, uses ingredients not listed. And so what I encourage you to do for your own project is literally just let yourself free type at first. You're going to end up describing in your own words what you think is a failure and why it's a failure. And if I were doing this for, let's say, 20 minutes a day, where I'm just generating more synthetic prompts, generating more examples, and then generating more failure modes, right? And ways that I evaluate, I'm going to start to see trends here. Now, with however many prompts we went through here, I guess 20 or so, maybe even less. Yeah, I only have 16 prompts here. So what you're going to find if you're doing this, let's say you want to generate 100 synthetic prompts, but you only go through like 20 a day. Okay, then in 1 week, you have 100 evaluation points. At that point, what you might find is, there's a way for me to improve my system prompt. Let me try that first, right? Like here, I'm already thinking to myself, I need to make sure in the system prompt that it's like, I actually like spice, so please don't give me a recipe that's too boring, right? Or that has very little spice in it. Spice flavor. I also like hot, spicy. So all of those maybe I can add in and say, I always have a stocked spice cabinet, so choose whatever spices and sauces that you think might add interesting things to a dish, right? So that's something that I can add. And then for your setup, you might find other trends, right? And you can both improve the prompt then. When you improve the prompt, you could rerun the synthetic data and you could go through it again and decide, okay, for these next 100 examples, go through another week. Did it improve? And what I recommend you do as you start doing this is maybe you also start to store somewhere prompt A had accuracy 0.687. Prompt B had this and that, and actually start to save these. You can literally just save this data frame and, make sure you version your prompt files, right? It would be that simple to begin with. So here I have some examples for you. Eventually, you're going to want to save your work, but I have some examples for you of next steps that you can take. And I also have some links here. So Hamel Hussein's guide, this one from Confident AI, I also thought was interesting, but of course they very much say, this is our tool and this is how you should use it. But more than anything, I encourage you to just get started on your evaluations and evaluating your failure modes. And let me know how it goes in the comments. What did you learn? Are you working on a recipe bot like me? What are you working on? What's your local AI project? And hopefully by you giving me that feedback, I can also make sure that I make better notebooks for you in the future. So stay tuned. Let me know how it goes. And I'm excited to hear about your first evaluations. All right. See you next week.